Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Mandy and today we're going to be talking about language arts, but specifically IEW and Abeka. I'm going to go over how these two different language arts curriculum are the same, how they're different, and my personal opinion on both, and just some comparisons on there from somebody who has not only used both of them, but is currently using both of them and has for quite a while. So hopefully this will help give you some insight as to how these two curriculums stand up next to each other. If it's your first time to my channel, I want to welcome you. Make sure that you hit the like and the subscribe button, and down below in the description box I have a link to our free Facebook group, and there is links to IEW curriculum that you can download and try out for free. There's Fix It Grammar, there is this one right here, which is Structure and Style for writing, and I believe there's poetry down there too. So go check that out if you need some samples to figure out if this is the right one for you. When we're talking about language arts for school, there are several subjects packed within language arts as a whole. Language arts is kind of a blanket term for all of these other subjects, and they combine together to make a language arts curriculum. So language arts typically is writing or composition, reading or phonics or both, spelling, vocabulary, and grammar. And there may be a couple more here and there inside of there, but those are the main subjects within language arts. You're going to get a comprehensive language arts subject with both of these brands. Now, to be clear, before I jump into the comparisons, both Abeka and IEW are fantastic brands, and when it comes to language arts, I would probably never deviate from either one of these two. Just as an educator, as somebody who has taught, who has studied this, and who has used it for a long time, I have never used a better language arts program than these two right here. They both have their strengths, and I really want to highlight that because I know it can be hard to pick a language arts curriculum sometimes, and hopefully this video will give you a little bit more insight. But I wanted to give you the top two language arts brands out there, and these definitely are the best. So let's talk about IEW and Abeka both and what they have that are the same. First, both brands are Christian brands. You're not going to find any secular material in either one of these. These are both Christian brands. Next, both of these brands have been around for a long time. And that's something that I think gets discounted a lot in the homeschool world, because we kind of get like shiny new toy syndrome, I want to say. And anytime there's a new curriculum out there, everybody just kind of like flocks to it for a while. These two brands have been around for a very long time. So these two brands have definitely stood the test of time when it comes to education, and you are definitely not going to be disappointed with them. With both of these brands, you can use either the entire brand for the whole language arts curriculum, or you can only use parts, and you can do a hybrid. And actually that's kind of what we're doing this year, because I already had some things that were Abeka and I got new things that were IEW, and I kind of just put them together and made my own little hybrid IEW and Abeka language arts curriculum. So you can use pieces of it without having to commit to the whole thing if you only want to try out maybe a certain subject like spelling. Both brands have the option of streaming classes, and I know that this might be more appealing to some rather than others, but we really enjoy the streaming when it comes to IEW. We love the streaming classes. If you have any reservations about the classes, head on over to the website down below for Structure and Style, and I believe they have some classes on there for free that you can get, and you can sit in on some of these classes. They are really great, and Andrew Pudawa, the instructor, is fantastic. He's hilarious. He always has my kids laughing. So I love the streaming classes, and Abeka also has streaming classes too that are more like of a formal, strict classroom setting. Although the Structure and Style is a classroom setting too, Abeka has streaming classes for every subject. So let's talk about some of the differences between Abeka and IEW. So Abeka is a brick and mortar school in Pensacola, Florida, And this school created from their school curriculum a homeschool version of it. So what you're really getting, and when you get the teacher book, you really understand this a lot more, and it's really much more obvious when you start looking at the lesson plans. You can tell these were definitely developed for a classroom setting. Now, they've developed them so you can use them in a homeschool setting, and it's very, very easy to do that. It doesn't feel like you're teaching a whole class or anything like that. But Abeka definitely is made for the classroom and translated over to homeschool. So that's really the approach that they're taking when you're looking at Abeka curriculum. It is not everybody's cup of tea. Abeka and I want to say BJU are probably more of that rigorous classroom, traditional school type of education. IEW is not like that. IEW was definitely developed for homeschooling families, and the overall educational approach is different. So you're really looking at two different styles of teaching when you're doing both of these. Now, you can teach the material any way you want. I want you to think of the lesson plan books as more of a guide than this is how we have to do it. Abeka, for the lesson plan book, which looks like this book, the teacher book here, they even have bolded words for you to say, which for new homeschooling parents, that's really helpful when sometimes you don't know what to say or how to teach. If you've never taught before and you're really nervous teaching, even though it's your own kids, Abeka has bolded words to help you teach the lesson. So you don't even have to worry about what to do or what to say. It's all right there for you. They make it so easy. I mean, nobody could fail at this. Seriously, nobody could fail at this. They have set this whole thing up for you. Now, structure and style, they don't exactly have like bolded words for you to teach, but what I really like about IEW is they have so many different notes. And so like at the beginning of the week, you're going to get like an outline of everything that's going to be taught. This is for structure and style, the writing. And then you're going to get all of the notes that Mr. Pudawa does on the board right here. So you have a basic comprehensive overview of everything. And you have all of the keyword outlines. You have all of the cheat sheet notes right here. It makes it so easy. You really don't have to think too hard about this to get through a lesson. So both of them have great teacher books, but they are both different approaches to the teacher and lesson books. So another big point on the approach, the way that Abeka teaches language arts and the way that IEW teaches language arts are two different ways. Either way, you're going to come out with a really strong student in language arts, but they're going to have strengths in different areas. And I'm going to explain this. In IEW, Andrew Pudawa's approach is to teach writing and to teach your child language arts more so through writing, and to strengthen your child in the writing department, because if you have a good writer, you're going to have someone that's good with grammar. Abeka takes the opposite approach. Abeka is stronger in grammar, and they believe that grammar makes a strong writer. However, here is the one thing with Abeka that you have to remember. Abeka really does not teach how to write. And that was the problem that we had with Abeka, and why we actually ended up switching over to structure and style for IEW, was because my kids were having a problem with the assignments in Abeka, because they would be told, write a story with such and such prompt. And my kid would bang his head on the wall or on his desk, and he was like, I don't know how to come up with this story. I don't know how to come up with any story. That was the main problem that we had, because Abeka does not teach you how to take an idea up here and put it onto paper. IEW does, and IEW will make a strong writer. And the thing that really changed my mind about the grammar, because I had a really hard time letting go of the grammar. And you guys, I cannot explain how difficult this was for me, because I was thinking, well, I was so used to Abeka's grammar approach. Abeka's grammar approach was really the core of their language arts program, just like writing is the core of IEW, with the core of it being grammar. And that was like I don't know, like ingrained in my brain after so many years of Abeka. I listened to Andrew Pudewa's talk, but what about grammar? I have that linked below on my IEW page. I had them make sure that they put that on the page for you guys so you could see what I'm talking about. Seriously, go get that talk, the but what about grammar? He explains it so well about how writing is the key to grammar. And when he explained it, and when he broke it down, my husband and I listened to this together, it was like this light bulb just went off in my head, and I was like, I get it. I totally understand it. And after 2 years of seeing what structure and style has done for my kids and how their writing has improved and how that's improved their grammar, now I get it. Now I get it, and I see it, and I can see it in my own kids. My kids were not good with writing at all. And now both of them are very strong writers. They're very confident writers, and this is what you want to see in your homeschool. So now that I've gone off on that tangent, when you have structure and style, and when you're doing the structure and style writing with IEW, you're going to pair it with Fix-It Grammar. And these two work together, but they can work separate. So you don't have to use both of them. You can use one or the other, but they will both teach the same concepts, so they both go together like puzzle pieces. So I highly suggest doing both, and they will sell structure and style writing packages with this. I think it might be like the deluxe set or something like that. Highly recommend it. Fix-It Grammar takes 10 minutes a day. Seriously, 10 minutes and it's done. And they're basically just editing one sentence a day. With Abeka, it's the opposite approach. Your grammar consumable workbook is going to be the main bulk of your day. And it's going to take probably 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Sometimes we were working for an hour, seriously. I mean, sometimes, especially if like that concept wasn't getting into their head or whatever it was. And the way they approach grammar is different, which is leading me to my next point. The approach to grammar is different. So IEW has Fix-It Grammar, where you edit one sentence a day, and every week you learn a new part of speech. With Abeka, you're going to have your main language arts book, which is this book, and it's mainly grammar. Now there's writing in that book, usually in the latter half next to the appendix, but that's seriously maybe like 20 or 30 pages at most, even in the higher grades. Most of this book is going to be all grammar, and they teach grammar through sentence diagramming. Some of you old school people like me will remember the sentence diagramming. I don't know who created that, but I hate sentence diagramming. I absolutely hate it. Hate it with a passion. I hate teaching it. I hate doing it. It's not fun, but it is an old school way of learning it. Now, does that mean it doesn't work? No. That just means I don't like that approach. My kids honestly don't like that approach either. However, it does work. So it just depends on which way your kids like it and which way you like it, of which one you want to go with. So there's different strengths in different areas. So hopefully I explained that in a way that makes sense to everybody. The way they teach spelling is different. So spelling in Abeka is actually my kids' favorite spelling. So we're actually doing a hybrid, so we're doing Abeka spelling. The Abeka spelling teaches spelling through spelling rules. So every single week, their list will usually be comprised of a new spelling rule. So whether it's I before E or except after C or whatever it is, their spelling list that week will be mainly centered around that spelling rule, and it will have vocabulary words. Typically, you're not going to find a theme around the spelling list or anything like that. It's just spelling rules. Now, IEW, however, is going to focus more on phonetic spelling, which means it's all based around phonics, and they have something called Phonetic Zoo. We tried Phonetic Zoo. My kids really didn't like it. It wasn't their favorite. I think, honestly, they were just so used to Abeka that they just wanted to stay with Abeka spelling, which was fine. You know, they weren't having any issues with it, and they were both spelling really great with it, so we just stayed with Abeka. But there's two different approaches to spelling. So with IEW, once your kids are past the learning how to read, like that phonics, because I think they use the All About Reading program on IEW.com for the lower grades. Once you are through that, you move into teaching the classics, which I've done many videos on this before. Just search on my channel. This is a great program. Teaching the classics is not a curriculum, it is a method. So it's going to teach you how to take a classic book and turn it into a curriculum using the Socratic method. This is really the old way of learning reading, which is you don't read to just read. You read to understand the author and the message that the author is portraying. You don't read just for comprehension to write out, you know, whatever answer to a question that the curriculum might be posing. It's really a discussion. So teaching the classics is more of like a family style type of curriculum that you can use for many ages. With Abeka has graded readers all throughout their program. Are really great readers in the Abeka program, but the approach to the comprehension is completely different. It's basically question and answer with Abeka readers, and they will have tests on it. They will have questions at the end of the reading, pretty simple, typical, you know, almost like public school type of question and answer. Teaching the classics, you're gonna have Socratic method, and it's definitely like a much higher level of thinking and comprehension that is required. However, if you start this young, it'll benefit you. So let's jump into my opinion on a couple of these issues, because I know everybody always asks me lots of questions on what I personally think about both of these different brands. Both of them are solid and will prepare your student for college. They're going to be prepared in different ways, but both of them are solid. You don't have to worry about them being ill-prepared. Personally, I like IEW better for college preparedness, just because as somebody who has gone through college, there was a lot of paper writing, and one of the things that I noticed my kids were really having a hard time with was writing papers. And I wanted them to strengthen that skill, especially in high school, before they got to college, just as a prep type of thing, and it has really served us well. I think both of my kids are going to be very prepared to write all the papers that they're going to have to write in college due to Andrew Pudewa's structure and style. And one more thing, of course, you can use a hybrid. If you like certain parts about certain brands here that I have, you can create your own. This is not like it doesn't have to be a one-stop shop just because Abeka has, you know, every subject. You don't have to buy that whole subject. You can buy just the spelling book or just the grammar book or just, you know, the readers or whatever you want to get. You can buy that. And then you can add in structure and style. So what I was doing, I think for the first year, was we were doing the grammar portion of Abeka, but I was not having them not do the writing assignments, and we were doing structure and style for writing. So we were actually doing like a 50-50 hybrid the first year just to kind of test it out and see how we liked it. We liked it so much we ended up just ditching almost all of Abeka and going completely all IEW. So hopefully that answers any questions that you guys have. Definitely take a look at the link that I have, the IEW link, and download some of these freebies. I think there's 4 weeks of Fix It Grammar for free over there. And there's also several weeks of Structure and Style for free. And yeah, I believe that has the live classes too. I totally recommend either one of these brands. I think that they are going to do well for most students. Of course, it's not going to be every student, but for most students, both of these brands or either of these brands will do well for you. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video. I hope you have a great rest of your day and happy homeschooling.